They called me loser every single day in high school. They stuffed my locker with trash. They spread rumors so vile that teachers stopped looking me in the eye. I was the quiet kid, the one who kept his head down. But here's what they didn't know. Every insult, every laugh, every shove down the hallway? It was fuel. And 10 years later, I didn't just get even. I became their boss. If you've ever dreamed of serving cold, poetic justice to someone who made your life miserable, stick around. This isn't just a revenge story, it's a full-circle moment you'll wish you could have seen in person. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. High school wasn't just awkward for me, it was war. Not the kind you fight with fists or weapons, but the kind where your spirit gets chipped away, every single day. There were 3 of them. Jason, the self-proclaimed king of the school. Amber, his girlfriend, with a smile so fake it could have been trademarked. And Kyle. Jason's loyal sidekick, who laughed at everything Jason said, even when it wasn't remotely funny. They had a sport, me. Jason once shoved my books into a puddle outside and made me pick them up while everyone watched. Amber? She had this whisper campaign, telling people I was creepy, that I stalked her, when I barely had the courage to look anyone in the eye. And Kyle? He was the worst kind of parasite, always there to escalate things. It wasn't just words. It was rejection from every group project. It was teachers brushing me off because the popular kids could do no wrong. It was me eating lunch in the library, pretending I had homework. And the thing that stung the most? No one defended me. I remember the exact moment something in me changed. It was senior year. Jason had just tripped me in the cafeteria. My tray went flying, spaghetti sauce splattering on my shirt like some kind of humiliation medal. The entire table erupted in laughter, even people I thought were neutral. I cleaned myself up in the bathroom, staring in the mirror at this pale, skinny kid with tired eyes. And I thought, this is not my forever. That night, I made a promise to myself. They will see me again. And when they do, they won't be laughing. After high school, they went their way. Jason started some low-level sales job. Amber floated through a string of modeling gigs that mostly ended in debt. Kyle bounced between construction work and unemployment. Me? I worked 3 part-time jobs and enrolled in night classes for business and computer science. I didn't have connections, money, or confidence, but I had something better, anger with a plan. I poured every paycheck into learning, building, and starting small projects online. One failed. Then another. Then a third. But each failure sharpened me. Then I hit on something, custom software tools for small businesses. At first, it was just me, coding in a cramped apartment, barely sleeping. But within 3 years, I had clients across the state. 5 years later? I had a registered corporation, an office downtown, and a growing staff. The real magic happened in year 8. We landed a huge contract with a mid-sized retail company. They needed our software for their entire chain. Guess who worked there? Jason. Not just worked there, he was applying for a position in my company. When I saw his name in the applicant list, I swear I could feel my teenage self fist-pumping in the back of my mind. But it wasn't just him. 2 months later, Amber applied for our PR department. And then Kyle, applying for a warehouse coordinator role. Life had served me a buffet of poetic justice. Now, I could have just rejected them. That would have been satisfying enough. But, no. That would be mercy. I decided to bring them in. The interviews were delicious. Jason walked in, wearing a cheap suit, sweaty palms, avoiding eye contact. Amber came next, overconfident but clearly desperate for stability. I'll just get thrown out, like life had been punching him in the face for years. I hired all 3. At first, I treated them like any other employee. No special attention. But I made sure they earned everything the hard way, strict deadlines, high standards, no shortcuts. Jason had to answer to people Amber had to report to a team lead who was half her age. Kyle had to do inventory checks in the freezing warehouse at 5 a.m. I could see the recognition creeping in, my name on every memo, my signature on every paycheck. The turning point came during a quarterly meeting. I stood at the head of the conference table, presenting our new expansion plan. Jason was there, sitting with the junior sales reps. Amber was taking notes as a PR assistant. Kyle was just delivering coffee. And then I said it. In high school, some people underestimated me. They thought I'd never make it. And yet, here we are. Life's funny like that, isn't it? I didn't name names. But the silence in that room? Heavy. Unmistakable. Jason's face turned pale. Amber bit her lip. Kyle just stared at the floor. 6 months later, their contracts came up for renewal. I kept Jason, he was decent at sales. I let Amber go for budgetary reasons. Kyle quit before I could decide. He said the early mornings were killing him. But the real victory wasn't firing them. It was knowing that every time they saw my signature, every time they had to say yes, boss, they were reminded of the kid they thought would never amount to anything. The last time I saw Amber, she stopped by to clear her desk. She hesitated before leaving and said, "You really turned out okay." I smiled. Better than okay. Jason still works for me. He's competent, quiet, and never crosses a line. Funny how respect works when the tables turn. I used to think revenge was about hurting someone back. But real revenge? It's living so well that the people who doubted you can't escape the reminder. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories where karma delivers exactly what's deserved.